Got one of them. Got one of them. What else can I add? That'll do. Why do I have to start building now? Why? Mate. Right. Hello everybody, welcome to a new video on the channel. As you can see, it's different to normal. Massively different. I've never sat in front of a camera in a sort of studio setup like this. I say studio. It's my bedroom, but it's hard to explain what I want to actually get from this channel, but I'm going to try and put it into the best words I can. Obviously, because before, where everything I was filming was all urbex stuff, so all exploring, all climbing buildings, a little bit of parkour and free running here and there. I want to start venturing out into different aspects of creating content. I want to start talking about a little bit more of my life, what I get up to, my motivations, my goals, and just create like all-round content rather than just being in such a niche subject. A niche subject. Yeah, that one. So this is me starting out and creating these videos. Obviously, it'd be nice to see as best support, and you do need to bear in mind this is new. I've got a couple of things coming in the post, so audio isn't going to be too great. I'm using the camera's audio right now. I understand that it probably sounds like I'm in a train tunnel. Anyways, but yeah, I've got a mic coming on the way. I've got some lighting and whatnot, so it shouldn't be too bad. And we eventually will switch up the background settings, because as you can see, a couple of LED lights and a camping chair isn't the best. So starting off on the video, we're going to be creating my camera setup and equipment, sort of basic photography YouTube channel type video. But I think it's important because where I am starting out in mainly videography, I've been a photographer for a few years now, but as we're starting out into the videography side of things, I think it's important for you guys to see what I've collected over the years, which I find work for me. So we're going to be going over my tripod, we're going to go over my lighting, my lenses, the body of my camera, and any other little accessories that I use that makes my life easier. First thing we're going to be going over is the lenses on the camera. The reason I've started with lenses is because, in my opinion, lenses are the most important part of having a good photography setup. Yes, the actual body of the camera itself is important, but in my opinion, and in the opinion of a lot of other professional photographers, it might not necessarily be as an important factor. And that doesn't say that you could get a really, really ridiculously cheap body like a Nikon Coolpix or something like that and try and put a lens in it, because number one, that doesn't work, and number two, the settings of that camera probably aren't going to get you the best quality images. But you don't have to spend as much money, like I said, in my opinion, on the body of a camera as the lenses you actually buy. That being said, for those who don't know anything about lenses in the first place, we classify lenses based off of their focal lengths. So each lens will be classified by a millimeter. So for example, you might have heard of a 35mm lens or a 50mm lens, and whichever you buy is based off of what you actually want the lens for in the first place. So if you're a portrait photographer, you're going to want a lens that's in the mid-range of being wide and being more zoom. So for me personally, for portraits, I'll use a 35mm lens, which we'll go over specifically in a minute, because I find that that focal length sort of portrays the most natural look in a shot, which is what you want for a portrait. My type of photography is more portraits, fashion, streetwear type photography, and in product shoots and events. So I have two lenses which cover that, a wide angle, and I have a prime lens, which is the one I'm currently filming on. The reason I have these is because, one, the wide angle allows me to get portraits as well, but not primarily, but it can help me taking photos with products. It can give me a little bit of a different angle when I go on to doing cityscapes and perhaps a nightscape or something along those lines. I do a lot of city photography as well. So having a wide just allows me to capture more context in an image. And it also allows me to film stuff like the free running videos I've done in the past and climbing stuff, because where you want to get everything in the image. But obviously my 35mm as well, I'm going to be using because it's got a lower f-stop number, which we'll be going over in a little while anyway. which means it allows a little bit more blur in the backgrounds, and it just gives the shot a little bit more of a natural look. So moving on to my actual photography setup now, the first lens I'm going to be talking about is my wide angle. So for my wide angle, I use a Sony Zeiss 16-35 f4 lens. The Sony Zeiss 16-35 f4 lens retails between £700 and £1,100 as far as I last looked. Obviously this depends on sales, where you're buying it from, the condition, etc. But it's quite expensive, although I don't think that you're not paying for the quality in this aspect. It has an optical steady shot, so in essence this means that inside the lens it's got the abilities to make sure that the shots that you're taking and the videos that you're taking stay stable and don't shake around too much, which lowers the need for a gimbal but isn't completely eradicated. This lens is compatible with APS-C and full frame cameras, so if you're using any of the Sony Alpha 6000 range, you can still use this lens and it still works to a good standard, but you can also therefore use it on the Sony A7 and above range, which tend to be full frame cameras as well. It weighs about 518 grams, so it's not too heavy, nowhere near as heavy as the next lens we're going to be talking about, which means it is portable, it isn't going to tie your arms out after a while of using it, and it's just an overall quite good compact lens. Its minimal focal length is 28 centimetres, so for those who do want to get close figures, close to your products and whatnot, it's actually quite handy as well. But overall, I would recommend it to anyone really if you've got the funds to supply for it. It's helped me with loads of wide angle shoots, and it just gives a bit more context to the images when you've got all of the stuff in the background as well. So moving on to the Sigma 35mm art lens. It retails at about £600+. I put that because I found quite a lot of range. Certain websites were selling it for about 600 brand new. I think I paid 650 at the time for mine, which is actually a fair price for such a crisp lens. I know it does sound a lot, but photography is one of those things that you do have to invest in to get good quality. So the price isn't too bad compared to some of the G Master lenses, which tend to ramp up to about £1,500 to £2,000. Again, this lens is compatible with both APS-C and full frame cameras, and I've used this on both of my full frame and mirror and APS-C cameras in the past as well. So this lens is compatible with both APS-C and full frame cameras. I've used this lens on my Sony A7R II, and I've used this with a Sony A6000, and the shots from both cameras come out ridiculously crisp. It weighs in at 695 grams, which is considerably more weighty than the Sony Zeiss lens. It does feel like a quality weight though. It doesn't feel like you're not getting your quality's worth. Obviously after a while you do get used to the weight, but when I first got it, I know that it was quite weird to get used to having so much of a front heavy camera. Its minimal focal length is 30 centimetres, so again, it's not too far out if you want to use it for product shoots and whatnot. It does still create that nice bokeh even at 30 centimetres as well. And probably one of the best features of this lens is its f-stop number. It shoots at f1.4, which is ridiculously low, and it's really good for the price you're getting it at as well. 1.4 allows you to shoot in low light conditions and in daytime conditions get a really nice bokeh in the background. For some, f1.4 can still be quite harsh, but it's still adjustable on the camera, so if you wanted to put it as f3 up to f22, then you can do that as well. Overall, I'd recommend this lens as well. It was the first lens I ever bought, and it was an all-rounder for me at the time until I bought my wide angle, and it has never disappointed me. So this pretty much sums up this segment of this multi-part video. We've gone over the lenses. As a summary, people use lenses for different things. If you want to shoot something, for example, a landscape, you're going to want a more wide lens. And if you're going to want to shoot more portraits or perhaps animal photography or sports, you're going to want a more zoomed lens. That's pretty much the general rule of thumb. But as you come up with your own style, it will always change. So you might eventually start using a wide angle for portraits and getting creative with it. So it really depends on you as a photographer. So that pretty much sums up the video today. Thank you for coming along and watching. I know this is a little bit different, and I hope everyone does enjoy the content. I'm also hoping to sort of influence more people to come to the channel, more photographers, rather than just the urbex cliche niche type thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the content anyway. It's only going to get better from here as I learn and grow from it. And that's what I'm sort of just trying to show people as well, is that growth's important. People make mistakes in the first place, but why not try, eh? So yeah, just make sure you like and comment on the video, subscribe if you want, and share the videos around if it's helped you. If you've got any questions, obviously just DM me on any of my social media. I'll pretty much reply to every message, unless I get like 1 million, subscribers in one day or something like that. But yeah, no, I'll reply to whatever. If not, you can email me if you can find out where it is, or I'll whack it down in the description as well. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.